Welcome to my presentation for Unit 52. In this presentation I am going to look at the control contexts, the process reflection, a quick demonstration of the blueprints, a function demonstration, then I'm going to sum up the whole of the unit and talk about future development for Unit 52. So on to cultural contexts. This is going to be a quick overview of the cultural contexts that I encountered during my process for this unit. I had an aim in my game design document which I created for 75. I wanted to include all cultures, races, ethnic background. I wanted to include it all because I wanted, obviously, my game was set 500 years in the future, so I want all that to be moved on from today's, society and have everyone's accepted. I wanted to have aliens accepted into it as well. The whole idea was based on the Star Trek, how they embraced diversity 50 years ago by having multicultural crew members, and how recently they've accepted transgender and same-sex relationships in the latest Star Trek films and TV shows. I wanted to have the enemy as robots, as this is quite neutral, so no race, culture or ethnic background was affected, as robots are neutral. So this is the process reflection. I'm going to talk about first of how I got my own character into the game. I started off by exporting the Unreal Mannequin. I deleted the mesh in Maya, and then I imported my character on top of that, scaled it all about, got it so it's matching, moved the bones about just so it fitted correctly. Then I skinned it, and then I spent a long time repainting the weight so there was no clipping or deformity issues. I then sent this back to Unreal Engine, and then all I had to do in Unreal was target or retarget the animations from the assets that I use from the marketplace and the ones given by Unreal Engine. This was like a 2-second job. All I had to do was set up the skeletons for both meshes and then retarget them. The reason I decided to use this is because I didn't want to use a Mixamo skeleton. I find it's not ideal for Unreal Engine. There's a lot of editing needed into by putting a root bone in so it functions correctly. And I think there's a lot of free assets out there that's based on the Unreal skeleton, and there's lots of content for you to buy on the marketplace as well. In this process, I'm going to quickly look over how I got the basic of my character up and running. I started off by creating 3 blend splaces. Each blend space has an idle, a walk and a run. The main one is walking with no weapons, so it's just a normal walk and run animation. Then I've got one for my sword and shield animation and one for my longsword. After this I added 3 sockets. I think there's more than 3 sockets. It was socket for each sword and one for the shield, and for the sheathing as well. After this I created animation notifies on the montages. This was so I could call special events like the launch, combo, and when the combo's ended, I can do other stuff like camera shakes, special attacks. It was quite useful for getting unique stuff onto my character. Then to make my character more unique, I created certain things like hit sprites, which when the character gets hit, a sprite would come up. I added weapon blurring, there was sounds like he grunts when he has to do attack, and then the grunt gets harder if it's a heavy attack. Then I did particle effects as well. This is just to make the characters a little bit more unique than just having a sword, and he's just playing with a sword. For the NPC, this is just going to show you the quick overview. I created two different types of NPCs. The first one was the boss. It just uses fighting moves. I used the same process of the character, so it used all the same notifies and stuff. It just needed a little bit of editing on the blueprint. I used a range check as well, so it decides what attack moves as well to use. So when it's far away, it will throw grenades. When it gets closer, it will do like a roar, or it will jump at the player, or charge. And then when it gets closer, it will start doing kicks and throws punches. So it's more of a fighting boss. Then recently, Unreal released the Paragon packs, so I decided, since it had a robot in there, I thought I'd change it, and it was a fighting robot as well, so this suited the game quite well. So it just took a day changing the mesh over and the animations, getting them all sorted, but I was able to use like stuff on there. I added taunts as well, so certain attacks he taunted the player. I think this was used in the notifiers as well. Then I created a minion. I wanted to experiment with the behaviour trees, because these have been recently added. A couple of one of the new features that were added, I think it was in like 4.10, or maybe just before, maybe 4.8. And these are brilliant for creating less complicated enemies. So for this, it has a simple branch. It has one where it's just idle, where it just walk around. Then it has a attack state and a chase state, and it just fires a little electronic bolt at the player. And then it also has a reset. If the player runs away, it will just reset back to its default starting place. Both of the enemies use the pawn sensing. It's set up so it can see in front of him. It also has, it can hear the player. If the player makes a noise, it will run over to the location of the last sound that was made. Okay, on this one I am going to show the blueprints. So this is the player blueprint. It's quite a lot going on. So over here is the main combo. So the right mouse is rest. It goes through all these branches. It checks if there's any blocking, which is if the mouse is being held, and then if not, it goes through the different types of combos. So depending what's been pressed, so this is the special attack as well. So these are the special attack ones. So it will choose what number's been selected, and then obviously it will choose the animation. And then add the jump force, camera shape, you've got stamina, then it's got the damage here. This one is the actual combo attack. So obviously this switch on int, it selects each time there's an attack that happens, so it'll add one. So you start off with attack 1, and it goes through all the way down to 10, and each one's a different attack animation. Obviously each one has its own unique force and jump. It's also got min and max damage. This is the blueprints for switching between weapons. This is what I had the most problem with at the start, as I couldn't figure out how to stop the weapon switching correctly. I would have to put one away, then bring it back, but this is how I did it. I got around with using a lot of booleans. It also comes up on the weapon switching up here, and then setting the visibilities. And then we've got all over here is the damage, so each one has its own unique damage. This is the draining, so when I use my special attacks, one of them is a health draining, so this will drain the health from the enemy, or add it onto the player. And then this is if the player takes damage, plays a sound. Obviously it adds to the rage, which makes you be able to use the special attacks. And obviously it goes between takes off the armor before the health, and obviously you've got your death. So where's my death? I have a unique death, so as I already did the health as I went along, I needed to find other things to copy from other blueprints. So I found this slow-mo death, which is a macro. I've used this in all of them. So it just takes the global time dilation, delays it over time, or the strength, and then obviously resumes the dilation, and then it just does a little slow-mo when someone dies. And that's that one, so we can go to the enemy. As you can see, it's pretty much the same. I think it's not as in depth as the character, because obviously the character has more to control, but the combo system is the same. So obviously it has a switch on intellect, which chooses the animation, then the jump force and launch force, the damage before playing it. This is going off the range, so you've got long range, and I've only done close range on this. I did have medium range, but I didn't like it, so because I didn't have enough animations, so I've changed it to just be long and short. And this is the distance checker. It's a nice little blueprint that just checks how far away the player is. Nice and simple. And that's the old one when it used mid range. Down here it says this is how I spawn hit sprites. So it uses a line trace. It spawns a spear, so when that spear hits the player on the break, it spawns an emitter. And it's obviously equal to the player's character. This is when it does damage, so it takes the min and max damage as a random float and applies it. Obviously then this is when it takes damage. It's not as complicated as the third player one, as it only, instead of having its own armor value, it just divides 1.15, or it reduces the damage by 1.15, I should say. And obviously this is when it dies, obviously the slow-mo again, and it destroys it after a while. It's nice and straightforward. These are the collision hitboxes, so you can see on its hands, it's got on its feet as well. This uses notifies when they get spawned, it enables them, and then disables them once the notify ends, and then obviously it calls the do not damage, which is this one. Okay, going on to the minions. So obviously I've quickly explained this quickly in the presentation, but it starts off, it uses a condition. Is it dead? Nope. Okay, so then it selects between these two branches. So this is the first one, find a random point in the level, move to it, wait 30 seconds again, then it will go there, check again, okay, and then it will keep doing that. It only goes to this branch when it sees a player, so when players been seen it will quit this, go straight to this one, this, and then it will follow the player. So we'll do a distance check, so it's in the right distance to the player, move to the player, and then it will launch its custom attack, which is a task that I've just made. And then this is the range check as well, which is a custom service. And then the blueprints for this is quite more complicated. All it's doing is it uses custom nodes, and it looks at setting all the blackboard barrels. So you can see it's got, obviously, these are the custom attacks. So it's obviously control radius, you've got your attack range movement. Has it that's in the player, it will set to true, then it can follow it. So it's just, this is how a lot of the things are triggered, because it's got the pawn sensing in here, which isn't on, but not visible, but there you go. So when it sees that, that triggers certain things. Then you've got your death one, and the damage. So a lot of the stuff's still done in the character blueprint. I've also got a node here, if I want to use it, that can respawn it as well. Okay, so that's the end of that. Let's go back to the presentation. So on this one I'm going to go back to the project, and I will quickly go through the project so you can see some stuff that I haven't explained in the presentation. So this is the basic movement, so it just uses the WSAD, you've got the jump, and then weapons is obviously 1 and 2, so 1, it's on a flip flop, so it's just randomly vanished, that's great. And then obviously 2 brings out the sword and puts it away. Attack is obviously left mouse button, right is blocking, so that's blocking now. Obviously you got the attack, and you can see it does sounds, particle effects as well. We'll show the special attack in a minute, and you also have a dodge, which is just a roll. So I've just hurt myself, I press shift, brings on the healing, and then I can just attack the player, and you can see my health going back up. And then there's the slow-mo death. And this one, it's another special attack, so I've got full rage, press Q, and then you can see it's brought the big sword down. And then on this one, I'll just bring out my sword and shield again. Gone through, press Q, and it brings out. And then obviously we can go into the next room and see the minions. And see these. We'll try showing you. See, it doesn't realise we're that here because it can't see us. This one's just spotted us, so it's chasing us, just firing at us. Attack. Then you got the slow-mo death. Now if I run away, which I should be able to, it should reset, which it just has. And I can go get some help. There is a slight bug. I have set it up where it does get attacked. It's meant to return attack, but for some reason, because I've exported it from a different project, it doesn't seem to function correctly. As this was set up in the actual game. And then just get the last one, and we'll be able to move on to the next section. Nice slow-mo there. Nice little camera to see the boss. We'll quickly run over to the boss and get killed. Some healing. So the boss is just now he's just throw a projectile at us. You can see
Your punches are weak.
you see the attacks. It's so if you try running away from it, it should try doing a long distance attack.
Do not hold back. I want a real fight.
So it's taunting me now. I've also set it as a random probability as well that it will just chase me and do less long distance attacks as well. So the NPC also has a dodge feature as well. When it feels like it's getting damaged,
Your promoter has a lot of work to do. Between Crunch and you, who would bet on you? Between Crunch and you, who would bet on you? Your face looks like someone has practiced punching on it.
punch it then.
Did you punch me? I felt only a tickle. Ha! Between Crunch and you, who would bet on you?
Because I've damaged it quite a lot, it's got stuck in there.
Your promoter has a lot of work to do. Ha! Ha! Between Crunch and you, who would bet on you? Your punches are weak.
See the hit sprites as well. There we go. Let's go back to the presentation now. And on to the last step. Right, so overall I enjoyed the project. I've learned a lot of new features in Unreal Engine, especially a lot about how to bring in characters, a lot about animations and how useful they are, especially the notifies. Improve my problem solving as well, because obviously I've encountered numbers of errors along the way, but I found ways of fixing these. So I've got a couple of future improvements. This is mainly based off the feedback I got off people. A lot of people commented saying I did quite a nice show of what I've got, like the combos and animations look good and stuff. Zach found a couple of bugs which I have fixed, except for one of them, I think. So future improvements I want to look at is incorporating two blend spaces, so having legs walking and the upper body attacking instead of the player freezing per attack. I think this is a bit outdated. A lot of games are using this now. I want to put the damage in the animation montages as a notify. I had a massive problem with the collision boxes. This is mainly based down to what Zach found that depending where he stood with the character, it would hit it if it was facing away. This is obviously the collision boxes. You can set it up on the as a notify, so when the sword, you don't need a collision box. When the sword hits the player, the NPC, the notify is enabled on the sword, and it'll be justified for like a second or half a second or whatever time you want and if the sword meets the NPC during that time, it takes the damage off, so there's no need for collision boxes causing all these clipping issues that I had. I want a new blocking system. I found the blocking system was not that great. I had a lot of problems with blend space in it. It's just a bit rubbish generally. It needs a lot of work. I also want to improve the grenades. At the moment it's a bit like a homing missile. You saw it in the demonstration. It threw one at me and it just instantly hit me. I had no chance of dodging it. I want it to be thrown so it, like, you can see it bounce on the floor, roll a bit, and you can move away from it. It just needs a bit more research into that. This is the end of the presentation now. Thank you for having the time to watch me ramble on about my Unit 52. Thank you very much.